damn it, boy. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Finally, we're back at it working on the EF once again, and today's goal is to get this automatic transmission out and get this thing swapped over to a 5-speed. I'm gonna go ahead and apologize for yesterday's video. It was not only late, but it was also hacked up and edited because of basically music in the background. I actually shot 2 videos yesterday. The other video that I shot yesterday will be out later this week, either Friday or Saturday or Sunday, I'm not sure. So look forward to that one. It has to do with the EJ1. There's a specific reason that I'll explain later as to why that video didn't come out yesterday, and I didn't want to put the 2 videos together. I wanted to keep them separately. There actually was like a lot more fun and cutting up that actually went on in the video, but it had to get cut out because after I uploaded it, it flagged the video. So, you know, there was going to be no audio at all on the video. It wasn't just about the monetization factor. So I had to obviously delete that video and then re-edit it. And so there's a lot of music just kind of playing over the entire thing. And that was to kind of drown out any of the you know, audio from the radio. Anyway, so enough about that. Moving forward, we're gonna get busy on this thing. So the goal is today is to get that transmission out. But anyway, let's get at it. Okay, so we got the wheels off, got the car up in the air, we got the axle nuts off, and we've got the lower ball joints separated. So underneath here, not a lot of light, but here's what they call the cover plate for the torque converter. So there's a 10 millimeter here and here where you see the ratchet on that I have to break free and then spin it and then take the rest of them out so that when I take the transmission off, the torque converter will stay attached to the transmission. You can see that this thing moves pretty freely. I don't know if you can see that in the light, but this thing just spins freely. Now I'm gonna bust these bolts loose and then spin it and then hit the next one, hit the next one. Okay, we got the axle popped out. I'm gonna wiggle this thing here. Oh God, no, no, cup. Okay, yeah, when you pull the axles out or drain the transmission first, which I forgot to do, when you pull the axles out, it will start draining fluid. So now we can pull this axle out. Yay. So we have to remove the shifter cable. There's a little pin in here that we have to remove. Okay, we finally got it disconnected up in there. I don't know if you can see that.
Gotta take this pin out of there.
Okay, you gotta take that little pin.
You slide it out and she comes out.
Yay! So now we're disconnected from the shifter. Now I'm about to take this front mount off. All right, I'm getting the front tranny mount bolt out. All right, get that bolt out. So we've got the shift linkage disconnected. There is a tranny bolt that is on this side, but it's missing. Okay, so underneath, I don't know if you can see, once again, we had to remove the front cross member, aka traction bar, so that we could get to there's 2 lines that we had to get to that run from the automatic transmission to the bottom of the radiator. I'm going to take those 2 hoses off, and I've got them hanging here draining into a bucket. So you will not need to use these little nipples anymore on the bottom of the radiator, so that's fine. It might still leak a little bit. But other than that, everything should be ready to come out. We should be able to drop this transmission. Now I don't know if you could see, but you could hear the flex plate just spinning, which is no bueno. So I'm gonna figure out what is going on when we pull this trans off. Okay, so we've got all this whole mount disconnected. We've got the rear mount disconnected. We've got the speed sensor pulled out, the ground wire pulled out, also the throttle cable or the little tranny cable that attaches to the throttle, tells it when to shift. And all we have to do now is just get the tranny bolts out, and it should be ready to come out.
Well, she's separated too.
So I'm saying this mount is just...
I mean, I can go all the way down. What do you want me to do, big boy?
Oh, if you can...
I'm just gonna release it. I don't know if it's gonna fall.
Just, I mean, you can't go that far.
Okay, here we go.
It's just caught on the mount right here. What's she coming down there?
Yeah.
She out. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you remove an automatic tranny. Just let it hit the ground.
Ain't like we're gonna use it again. Oh. There. Now it's yeah. Thank you.
Oh yeah, look at that. I don't think it's supposed to do that, man.
That's why I should start.
That's why, yeah, look at that thing, boy. I'll tell you what. I mean, anybody want to dial up? This is, hey kids, you millennials, this is how we used to dial phone numbers back in the day.
Damn it, boy.
That's pretty bad.
Oh, look at that right there. Oh, it's got a backed out flywheel bolt. That's probably what happened. See what happened was, oh God. We gotta pray to God we can get that out.
Check it out. Stop talking about it.
All right, we'll be back with you in a second to see if we can figure this out. Okay, so I've got the flywheel on. You have to use manual flywheel bolts. Now you can see my flywheel is rusty as shit. That's okay. It just sat out in the rain for a day. It's practically brand new. It only has about 2,000 miles on the clutch kit. We're gonna hit it with some brake cleaner and get this thing cleaned up before we put the clutch on. However, we've got a couple other things to do. We have to pull out this rear mount and change it to a manual rear mount, and also rear mount bracket. Finally got this rear mount out. It was a super pain to get this one last bolt out. I had to drop the subframe a little bit just to get to it. I don't know, I mean, there might be some of you guys out there that got a tool that'll fit right in there, but geez, this is definitely the worst part of the whole thing. Back to the normal camera here. So obviously we've got the automatic transmission out, the cross member dropped, the subframe is actually dropped a little bit. Obviously, I said before, I had to drop the subframe to get that rear mount out. Now I need to put a manual rear mount out. You have to swap the rear mount along with the rear mount bracket out with a manual one. Those are the main difference, as well as the mount on this side is different. If you get a hold of a manual transmission and you have both of those attached, then you should be fine. So I've got the flywheel on. I still need to put the clutch on, install the transmission as well, and you know, axle, shift linkage, clutch cable, and then the pedal set. I've gone ahead and removed the automatic shifter box. There was 4 10mm nuts on the bottom and 2 10mm nuts up here. Then I removed. I had to detach the cable from the transmission itself. Then all that stuff came out. Next on the list will be to swap the pedal set. Depending on how time it goes today, I'm running a little bit behind. Dealing with the clutch and flywheel and getting the transmission and everything out has taken a little bit longer than expected, as well as getting the rear mount out. Definitely took some more time than we expected. And I actually got lucky. There was a bad flywheel bolt hole, I guess if you want to call it, on the crankshaft. That's why the flywheel is on. I was able to use a tap and die kit and tap it. I didn't really film that because I wanted to make sure I could get that done, and I was really just focused on making sure I could save that, because at that point, if the crankshaft is ruined, you might as well just swap the whole motor. But luckily, I think we are good on that. I did torque down the flywheel bolts. That's a typical step, but for the most part, this isn't that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so the good news is to install the clutch cable, there's actually just a cap right here, and we'll peel back, if you can see it. Oh, there we go. That thing is a little bitch. We have the clutch hole now open and available. Now we have the fun part, removing the pedal set. Yay! This is the most exciting, best part of the whole thing. The automatic one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts, 5 on the wall, and then 1 facing up top. So I'm gonna get busy pulling those out. Obviously, I have to also take out the pin connecting the brake pedal. Now to get the pedal set up, we have to disconnect the throttle cable, and we have to come over here and twist it and pull it out, so that way it's not locked. We have to disconnect it from here to loosen it up. 12mm wrench. Okay. Now we will have to reconnect this, but for now, we just need that free. I've gone ahead and dropped the steering column all the way. Now I'm gonna get in there to pop that little thing up and out. It is easier said than done. Slide out. Okay, this guy doesn't want to slide out, but you can see how it sort of works. Gotta pull it up over that little layer. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the pedal set and pull it out when I get it down. So that's 1 nut, 2 nuts, just let them hit the ground. And there's actually one up here, right here. Okay, so I just said screw it so that you guys can see how this is. I pulled everything out. I've gotten all the bolts removed. I pulled the bar out. I pulled the hoses out. And actually, this will be a little easier to work with, honestly, when hooking all the cables and putting the other pedal set in here. Got all that out. All I gotta do now is pull it out, which can be tricky. Also, do not break the brake switch. I will need that on the other pedal set. The other pedal set uses a 4-plug brake switch, and it's also broken, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. It's gonna be super duper fun. Oh yeah, and I still didn't disconnect the throttle cable because I couldn't get it out. Be back with you in a second. Okay, I finally have the throttle cable disconnected. Now let's see if I can get this pedal set out. Okay, so here are both pedal sets, the automatic and the 5-speed. Obviously, I'm going to need to pull the brake switch and put it here. The only difference is this. This is for cruise control, which we don't have, so it doesn't matter. It's not gonna affect anything. So I'm gonna swap the brake switch, and then I'm gonna start to attempt to put this pedal set in. Okay, so I swapped the brake switch. I'm gonna be putting it in here. Can be a little tricky to get this in here, but you know, just gotta finagle it. Okay, I'm gonna have to use both arms to set this in here. Okay, she's in there. Now I've just gotta get all the nuts on there and should be ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out. It's self-explanatory, just put nuts where they were. Okay, the pedal set is in. Got all the bolts in. Now I'm gonna try to put all this stuff back together. But first I'm gonna hook up the clutch cable because it definitely seems easy to access right there. I've got my clutch cable here. I'm just gonna stick it through down into the hole, which is a little tricky. Okay, finally, I've got it to sit in there flush, just had to use 2 hands, and it is hooked up there. So, next, the throttle cable, which is gonna be impossible to show you. Okay, now I've got the throttle cable hooked up to the pedal set. Now I've got to hook it back up onto the throttle body itself. Now we have to put it in there and twist. And just tighten the throttle cable. And we just need to put the throttle cable back in all of its clips. And our clutch cable is ready to go. So there we have it, pedal set done. Okay guys, so I've got the air ducts back in and the metal support bar. I've got to put the steering column back up. However, so unfortunately it's 7 o'clock guys, I gotta go home and edit this video for you guys to watch tonight. I basically came to a standstill because I was waiting for a friend to bring me the last few pieces that I needed so that we could get the manual transmission in. However, I'm going to come back here early in the morning and get started for a video for you guys tomorrow. So I just want to say thank you all so much for watching these videos and you know, picking up a hoodie and a shirt. I really appreciate it, really helps me out. Thank you guys all so much. Once again, click like if you like this video, click subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to follow me on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out and keep living your dreams.